Dear Cece, if you're reading this, I needed you to know that your mother was a fucking idiot. Full stop.
The Housemaid is your classic story about a seemingly perfect, upper-class, affluent family which carries some deep, dark, horrific secrets. Based on the novel by Freida McFadden, this twisted drama explores themes of psychological abuse, gaslighting, coercion, manipulation, generational trauma. The list is endless. This film came out at the end of 2025, starring Sydney Sweeney as the housemaid, Millie, and Amanda Seyfried as the wife, Nina. And I've been struggling on which angle to tell this story from because there are just so many. Following the timeline of events in the book, the story could be told from the cautionary tale of stealing another woman's husband lens. We could also talk about this from the lens of marrying an abusive man and the signs that Nina missed. Then there's the angle of women intentionally endangering other women. The possibilities are endless, so let's talk about it all. First, let's briefly recap the first part of this film. The entire plot is something that we've all seen before. Millie, a poor but attractive young woman, is looking for a job. She responds to an ad that Nina, this very posh and affluent housewife, put out for a live-in maid for her small family of 3. Millie gets the job. So in the same house now, you have this very attractive rich man. You also have this hot 20-something-year-old girl, and then you have the wife, Nina, who in the book is described as being a bit overweight, like not her best self. But in the film, she's really not. Like, the worst thing that you can say about her appearance in the movie is that she doesn't touch up her roots enough. Nevertheless, Nina presents as high-strung, and in contrast, Millie is very timid and down-to-earth. It's obvious early on that Millie finds Nina's husband, Andrew, played by Brandon Sklenar, very attractive, and after a lot of build-up, the two end up having an affair. So that's the recap of the first part of the movie, and here is where Millie, the housemaid, is problematic. She sleeps with her employer's husband while said employer is out of town dropping her kid off at summer camp. And on the surface, yes, Captain Obvious, it is problematic to sleep with a married man. However, the writer does an excellent job of leading the audience to believe that she is deserving of this. Like, Nina is written to come off as an extreme bitch to Millie. She is very abusive to her housemaid in so many ways. She's a psychological tormentor who gets off on demeaning Millie, intentionally confusing Millie, embarrassing Millie. So especially when you read it, you feel bad for Millie. Nina treats her horribly. It very much comes across like Andrew is just this poor sap that got stuck with this crazy mega bitch of a wife. Perception is everything. So when I first read this, I didn't feel bad that she slept with Nina's husband. I mean, did you? But Millie is still dead wrong here. So this doesn't come across as much in the film as it did in the book, but Millie reaches a point where she actually believes that she is better than Nina, Andrew's wife. And she really cements these delusions in her mind after sleeping with him, of course. What Millie begins to do is create a bunch of justifications as to why it was okay for her to commit such an egregious act. And this is the typical thought pattern of anyone who sleeps with a married man. They justify it. They justify it to mend and gloss over their own obvious shortcomings. He doesn't love her anymore. He's happier with me. She treats him poorly, etc., etc. Millie grows to believe that Nina doesn't deserve Andrew because, I don't know, she's mean to her. And she's painted out to be crazy, which, yes, Millie does play that up because in the end, we'll see that she does have ulterior motives. So because of these things, Nina has it in her mind that she is more deserving of this life and Andrew than his wife. Also, an important detail, this family is a family of 3, but Nina's daughter is not Andrew's child. She came into the marriage with her now 7-year-old daughter Cece, but of course, Andrew wants children of his own, and it's presented as because Nina is older, in her late 30s I presume, they are having fertility issues, and Millie will also justify being the better woman for Andrew because she can give Andrew as many kids as he wants. She weaponizes her youth and fertility as to why she's better suited for Andrew than his current wife. And again, this comes across more in the novel than it does on screen in the movie. So Millie thinks that she can easily give Andrew the babies that he wants. She also won't ever snap at him like Nina did. She's not stuck up and will be the super chill, cool girl wife, Ship grinningly happy and appreciative for every little thing that he does, right? But Millie does not realize why Nina is so uptight, and she will soon find out. But to continue, when Nina, rightfully so, blows up after finding out that they slept together while she was out of town, she fires Millie. But Andrew is now protective of Millie and instead tells his wife to leave. And of course, this quick and callous dismissal of someone he vowed to dedicate his life to isn't a red flag to Millie. She's way too wide open and ready to stake her claim, because what does Millie say after Andrew tells his wife to get out of his house? She very smugly says, "Do you need help packing your things?" So the cautionary tale of sleeping/stealing another woman's husband is that Millie truly had no idea who the man was that she was taking. And this is the twist in the story. So this plays out differently in the book than on film, but basically Andrew is an abuser. He likes to punish his spouse by locking what used to be Nina but is now Millie up in the attic. And the punishment doesn't end there. Typically there's some sort of mutilation or torture that the woman must endure before he lets her out. He has to ensure that she quote unquote learns her lesson. See, Andrew presents as this nice guy to literally everyone, but behind closed doors is very controlling and sick. And all Millie saw was the overly understanding, nice, and tender side of Andrew. She had no idea of his dark side and abusive nature. And actually, in the beginning of this discovery, she gaslights herself, like, no, this isn't happening to me, he's just joking. But no, Millie, this is all very serious. There is something to be said about the timelines too, that we will discuss more when I talk about the signs that Nina missed when marrying that abusive man. But Millie rushed into this romantic tryst so quickly. She had no time to see all of the seasons of Andrew. This part of the story is a warning about how easily perception can be manipulated when you only see the curated version of someone. Thing is, Millie didn't just see the curated version of Andrew though. She also saw a man who cheats on his wife with her. She also saw a man who would abandon the marriage and leave his wife desolate on a whim, also for her. But because it is her, she overlooks these massive moral character flaws within Andrew and truly believes that she's absolved from his bad behavior because, for the moment, she's the one benefiting from it. Andrew kicks his wife out and then immediately starts planning a new life with Millie. And no, we can't ignore the fact that Millie is very vulnerable and doesn't have anywhere else to live. And that part about vulnerability, plus the fact that abusive men really rely on compressed timelines, leads us to the topic of Nina. Midway through the novel and film, we learn the beginnings of Nina's story. Her and Andrew's story is that of the hero and damsel distress type trope. And you can actually see the same thing, or you can actually say the same thing about him and Millie's relationship too. Andrew played the hero, saving Millie from his tyrant of a wife. And for Nina, he was a hero too. When Nina and Andrew first met, she was a new single mom with a very, very young daughter. She had to work, and worked at a law firm for a very demoralizing boss because she had no other options. Andrew at this point was already very well established. He was Nina's boss's boss, so there was a bit of a power dynamic there. And after an embarrassing encounter at work, not even really knowing her, he asked her out on a date, and from there, for the two of them, things move along at lightning speed. After 6 days, they were intimate. After 6 weeks, they were engaged. And Nina mentioned he was so dreamy that she would have married him in the middle of their first date. Andrew gathers a lot of data about Nina, at least enough to know how vulnerable she was at the time. But in this short time, only 6 weeks, Nina doesn't get the chance to do the same. All she knows is that he's attractive, he has a lot of money, and that he was engaged a year prior, but it didn't work out. Had Nina slowed down and not been in a rush to get to this life that he was offering her, maybe she would have caught the fact that something was off about Andrew. Also, the big, beautiful, ready-made house that Andrew built to share with his former, mysterious, vanishing fiancé, she was curious, but she had no serious inquiries about it. Also, the mother-in-law detests her from the start, yet she doesn't slow things down to dive into that. So aside from the fact that she didn't miss the glaring red flag that he proposes after only a month and a half of knowing her, well, there is no aside from the fact that he effectively trapped her once they were married and she moved in. After the first incident of him locking her up in the attic for something as trivial as not getting her hair touched up, directly after that, he stages this horrible scene that led the police to believe that she tried to take herself out along with her daughter. So she couldn't leave if she wanted to because he had then convinced everyone around him that she was crazy and that he was so benevolent for taking in her and her daughter. And the worst part about this is that she has a young daughter in the house witnessing and very much being affected by all of this. So the picture is painted that after the abuse she had to stay, it'd be too dangerous for her to leave, right? But why did she keep up this facade, this illusion that she had the perfect life when she didn't? What's with all of the image management here? For Nina, it's partly about survival, but it's also a honeypot. A desperate woman will put your life in danger. This plot that Nina developed to save herself involved a sacrifice, Millie. So at this point in the plot, the audience learns that this entire situation was an elaborate ruse set up by Nina herself to have another woman take her place so that she could escape her abusive husband. But before it goes forward, Millie has to want this life. And the ultimate selling point might not be the big house and the fancy cars or Andrew's $1 million smile. It's seeing how much Andrew adores and is betrothed to Nina despite her many flaws. Because let's not forget, Millie was in prison. She has flaws of her own. And no matter how the writer tried to make the audience believe that this was the only way, it wasn't. Enzo, the groundkeeper, was more than willing to help Nina escape her situation. But she didn't want that very buff, brawny, strong man who was willing to make any sacrifices for her. She had to blindly drag in an innocent young woman into all of her drama. Could this have been a byproduct of the years of abuse Nina suffered at the hands of Andrew? Viewing another young woman's life as completely disposable, because how could Nina really know that Millie would survive that situation? So my question is, we have 3 characters in this story, but do we have a heroine? I know who they are trying to make the heroine, Millie, for having the strength to help a woman escape an abusive relationship, even though she was coerced into doing so. But how could she be when she was operating from a place of extreme selfishness and trying to take Nina's spot when she thought that Nina had the perfect life? And it's definitely not Nina, although her plan was very shrewd. It was also extremely risky. She could have gotten Millie killed. And now apparently Nina is passing Millie's number around to help other women escape their abusive husbands. So we all know that the movie ends with Andrew dying at the hands of Millie after pleading to get back with his wife, of course. And Nina covers for Millie, knowing that her punishment, if it's found out that this wasn't an accidental death, wouldn't be as harsh. And there is a particular detail at the very end of the movie which differs from the book, and it is significant in my opinion. That detail is that the cop, who essentially brushed this case under the rug for the sake of saving an obviously terrified and abused woman, was male in the book. The officer was the father of the woman that Andrew was previously engaged to. However, in the film, they made this detective a woman, the sister of the woman that Andrew was previously engaged to. And in both cases, neither knew the details of the relationship, but they knew that the person that they loved was traumatized after being with Andrew. And this had to be a woman in the film because it's just more realistic. Women empathize and believe other women the first time. We don't need to know the details. We don't need to investigate. Women universally just need to see the look on that other woman's face to understand that something terrible happened to her. While a man, especially a detective in this case, will always question it.